on Wednesday, there was a congressional hearing on men and women's sports, particularly men in women's divisions in USA Fencing, which is the national governing body of fencing. You might have seen me posting a lot of clips from it, a lot of the highlights from it. And the reason that I have been doing that is that I watched all 3.5 hours of this hearing. And I know that most Americans don't have the time or the inclination to do that. And I was actually shocked at what I saw. Okay, as someone who follows politics quite closely, I was shocked at what I saw. So, first of all, out of the 4 witnesses called, 2 of them were female athletes who've been harmed by men and women's sports. One of them is the fencer who went viral in late March, early April, for taking a knee when she was paired with a male opponent in a women's competition sponsored by USA Fencing. And the other is Peyton McNabb, who you probably actually heard of. She is a female athlete who took a volleyball spike to the face, and it was spiked by a man on a women's volleyball team. And she actually got a traumatic brain injury from that. So these 2 women were called as expert witnesses, okay? And the first thing that the Democrats do, right when the hearing gets going, basically, is they call to take a vote to completely suspend the hearing before it even happens because, according to them, this is not their purview. They are a Doge oversight body, so they shouldn't even be talking about this. So they take the vote. The vote is completely split along party lines, 6-7. Luckily, the GOP wins the vote. Okay, so the hearing is allowed to proceed. So I understand that that's their job. Okay, that's their process. But that's the first sign of disrespect to these female athletes. And then every single Democrat, every single one, use their time not to question these female athletes, not to hear their expert testimony, not to hear their lived experience, but instead they use their time to make a speech. And all of their speeches, every single one, was about the fact that this does not matter. The American people don't care about this. This is a waste of taxpayer time. This is a waste of our time. That is what every single one of the Democrats chose to say in front of, again, 2 female athletes who have been harmed by men in women's sports. The other 2 witnesses there were the woke, insanely woke, expert on women's rights, self-professed expert on women's rights from the National Women's Law Center, who actually testified that there's no biological difference between men and women. And the 4th witness was, again, egregiously woke, very disrespectful, chairman of the board of directors of USA Fencing, Damien Lefelt. And this is a man who, on social media, has compared parents who don't want their daughters competing against men in sports to KKK members. So this is who the Democrats chose to praise when they interacted with the witnesses at all. But for the most part, they just decided to give speeches. Not a single one of them questioned either of these 2 young women about their experience or how they were harmed by men and women's sports. So I just thought it was so embarrassing. I felt so much for these girls who had traveled here, written opening statements, given opening statements, and then the congressional Democrats basically acted like children and told them and all of us implicitly and explicitly that they and this issue were not worth their time. Mind you, they are paid to do this. I understand why congressional Democrats have like a 30% approval rating or whatever it is. And I honestly understand why they were constantly trying to deflect from the issue and attack Donald Trump and attack the economy, because they know that this is an 80-20 issue. 80% of America agrees with me. 80% of America wants men out of women's sports and women's spaces. So of course, you have to deflect when you are choosing to die on the hill of a wildly unpopular issue. This is not the party of women. This is not the party of believing women. This is not the party of listening to women. This is not the party of protecting women's rights. It's utterly embarrassing. And the reason that I'm trying to share the highlights with you and I'm talking about this so much is, again, I know most Americans cannot watch this, cannot listen to all of this, but I did. And I want you to hear what happened and know what happened, because the idea that Democrats get to claim that they're for women is absolutely absurd in the year 2025, when they are fighting for men's feelings, mentally unwell men's feelings, over women's physical and emotional safety and their ability to survive and thrive and take part in athletics or get scholarships or win awards or whatever it is. And I'm not even a feminist, so it's embarrassing that I even have to call this out. But they are not the party of women.